guys, I hope you're all really well. I'm Lucy if you're new here, and if you are new here I would love it if you subscribed, if you enjoyed this video or any of my other videos. I try and post like 2 times a week, and it could be anything. It could be like a fashion video, a haul, eating videos, parenting, day in the lives. It's quite varied. I just sort of post what I feel like posting that week. So as I said, if you do enjoy my content, then I would love it if you subscribed. Anyway, I'm going to get on with today's video. So in this video, I'm going to be giving you some tips for fussy eating. I have done a video like this before, but it was when we were in the middle of a particularly fussy stage with Harry, and we hadn't quite cracked it, but we were sort of on the road to cracking it. So I thought I would do a bit of an updated video because my son, touch wood, is eating so much better. So this is the kind of video which I might massively regret making in a week's time, because it's one of those things, isn't it, that when you start talking about something good that your child does, immediately stop doing it and start rebelling because you've spoken about it. So I might massively regret this, but I really just wanted to talk about the things that we've been doing that I really think have helped Harry become less of a fussy eater. So without going into massive detail, Harry has always been a very fussy little boy, ever since he was a baby even. When I was weaning him, he was fussy. He would never be the kid that would grab the broccoli and just munch away. He always wanted like the beige food, and I was maybe a little bit lenient on him when he was younger, just because I was so worried that if he didn't eat then he would just collapse and die. Like, I was just so worried about him not eating, so I just kind of let him eat what he wanted. And then it got to a stage, possibly when he was around 2, when I was like, right, this is getting a little bit ridiculous now. He's pretty much just eating what he wants, sugar-filled food, beige food, not really eating any fruit or veg. So that's when I sort of started to crack down. So this has been quite a long process. So the tips I'm going to tell you might not work for you, but they've really worked for us, and I do think that you could adapt each thing to work for you, or even if you just take like a couple of things from the list that I've got to try and help, I really think that you'll see some improvements. So yeah, I'm just going to get into this video and stop rambling. So my absolute #1 tip for fussy eaters is to say no, and I know that this is really difficult, and this is probably the thing I found hardest to grasp and keep going with, because so say I put a plate of food in front of Harry, like a meal, and he kicked off about it and didn't want to eat it, I would usually give in after 15 minutes of a tantrum, and I would just give him a piece of toast or give him an alternative of something that he liked. But instead of doing that, I would just completely say no. So if he kicked off about the meal, I would just say, okay, no problem, don't eat it, but there's nothing else. And that seemed to work a treat. Obviously, the first few times, so it's probably the first week, even first 2 weeks, he kicked off mega, and he ended up not eating it and just got down from the table and went to bed hungry. But after me continuously doing that, he soon got the picture and the message that he wasn't going to get any alternatives. So if he didn't at least try what was on the table, then he wasn't going to get any dinner. I'm not telling you to starve your children, obviously. I think that if they're hungry, then they will eat. I know that this is definitely a very personal preference one, because of the fact that you don't want your child not to eat, but this tip really worked for us. The second tip goes alongside with this one really well, and it's definitely something that's helped us so much. So when you put down a meal on the table, don't make a fuss about it. Just literally put it down on the table, walk away. Don't say, here's your dinner, Harry. Oh my goodness, it looks so delicious. You're gonna love it. Because I just found that the minute I said that, he sort of cottoned on to the falseness in my voice. Even though it probably was a delicious meal, he would just completely cotton onto it straight away, and he'd think, well, I don't want to eat that, I want to rebel. So I just found that if I would put a plate of food down and not make a fuss and just walk away, he might kick off about it, but 9 times out of 10 he doesn't. He sort of just looks at it like, oh, she's not that bothered whether I eat it or not, so I might as well just eat it. Don't like to kick off if he doesn't want to eat something. So say I put the meal down, he says, Mummy, I don't like this. Instead of saying, oh my god, Harry, you need to eat it, don't be so stupid, blah blah blah, instead of like kicking off about it, I just go the complete opposite, and I'll say, okay, no problem, you can get down if you like. And sort of giving him the option to get down, he then suddenly thinks, well, I don't want to get down. I want to eat my dinner. He just wants to go like against what I'm saying. I hope this makes sense, but it really seems to work. I guess it's kind of a little bit of reverse psychology, but it does really seem to work, alongside not giving him an alternative. So my third tip is to stop the snacks. I found that I was giving Harry a lot of snacks, probably this time last year. He was eating like a bit of a meal, and then he was full from like having a snack in the morning, and then because he wasn't eating like his whole lunch because he'd had the snack, he then wanted a snack in the afternoon, if not more than one snack, because he was hungry, and then it was affecting what he was eating at dinner. Because he does have quite a small appetite, he doesn't need the snacks, and if I do give him a snack, I try to offer him a healthy snack. Some kids do really well with a big meal for breakfast, one snack in the morning or two snacks in the morning, a lunch, two snacks in the afternoon, and a dinner, and they will eat it all. But Harry just isn't that kid. As soon as he has a snack, he immediately doesn't really want to eat the next meal. So like I said, I try and offer him a banana, a bit of cheese. Sometimes we'll have a little bowl with some cut up bits of ham in there. Just something other than like crisps or biscuits or crackers or cake or something that's going to be too filling for him. I just try and offer him something relatively healthy. That kind of brings me on to my next tip, which is to give a bit of a choice. So I don't tend to do this with dinner too much, because I try and give him what we're having. Unless he's not having what we're having, then I'll kind of let him pick and choose things. But I'm talking about snacks. So we all know what little ones are like, especially 3 or 4 year olds. They really like to have control, so I try and give him a little bit of a choice without giving him too much choice about what he's going to eat. So say I'm offering him a snack, I'll give him a choice of a fruit pouch, a banana and an apple, all 3 healthy choices, and he gets to pick one of those, and then he feels like he's in control. My next tip is to give so much praise when they try something new. So lately Harry has just been trying so many new things, which is amazing to see, and I really think it's to do with all these tips obviously, but the fact that we're giving him so much praise and so much encouragement. So when he does try something new, even if he doesn't like it, I'm like, oh my goodness Harry, you're such a big boy, well done for trying it, that's so good. And a lot of the time now I find that he's trying things and then he realizes that he likes it, and the more that he tries things that he likes, the more he wants to try things, if that makes sense. I also think a lot of this comes with age. So he's now turned 4 and he understands things a lot more. He understands a little bit about what food does to your body, and that eating good food makes him feel good. That kind of brings me on to my next tip as well. We try and make a bit of a game out of dinner. Not like a game as in like we play with our food or anything, but we basically talk about his muscles a lot. And I'm sure this would work with girls too, but this is such a boy thing. Boys really like to have big muscles, and we're like, come on Harry, show us your muscles, and he's like, yeah, look at me. And so we're like, oh my goodness, you've got such big muscles, that must be because you're eating so much lunch and so much dinner. And he's really grasped that, and he keeps telling everyone how big his muscles is because he eats all his dinners. And ever since then he has been eating a lot more, and he's been eating a lot more good food. So say he's got chicken on his plate, I'm like, oh my goodness, chicken is so full of protein, you're gonna get such big muscles. And you can see like the little cogs going around in his head, and you can see him thinking, oh my god, I could be like Spider-Man if I eat this. I just think that subtle things can make meal times that little bit more fun. Things like that obviously kind of work better with the slightly older children, so your 3 and 4 year olds. But yeah, again, it's a little bit of reverse psychology. Another huge tip that I know a lot of parents really do not like, but I really actually enjoy it, and that is getting your little ones involved in the cooking of your food. So we don't do this all of the time. I'm a busy mum and I like to get dinner done and out on the table and everybody in bed on time. But when I can, I do like to get Harry involved with the cooking. We get quite a lot of HelloFresh meals, so when the box gets delivered, I let him open it and touch and smell and even taste some of the ingredients. I just think having that relationship with food helps them to understand what it is and gets them used to what's coming on their plate. I also think it's really important to show children things like raw meat, obviously if they are meat eaters. So I show Harry what raw chicken looks like, and then he sees it being cooked, and then he sees it come out on his plate, because obviously they look like completely different things. And I just think that sometimes when he sees where his food's come from and where it's been prepared, he's more likely to eat it, a lot like an adult would. Like, I'm quite fussy with foods like that. Like, I quite like nice foods, and I like to know sort of where it's come from, how it's been cooked, and then the finished result. I know that cooking with kids can be really messy. I think I've done a couple of videos cooking with Harry. I'll try and link them below. They're quite good fun to watch. So it can be messy, and to be honest, Harry gets bored within like 10 minutes anyway sometimes, but he just really like enjoys chopping things up, and quite often he'll chop it and then he'll put a bit in his mouth. So at least I know that he's getting a little bit of veg. So my last tip is going to be bribery. I wouldn't say use bribery every single day, but sometimes bribery is essential. So we will offer Harry some chocolate if we know that the meal that he's got he really just isn't into, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I try not to do that every day, because obviously I don't want him to be eating bad food every day, and I don't want him to just eat a meal because he thinks he's going to get a reward at the end. But let's face it, who doesn't like having something nice after their dinner? So sometimes I have to pick my battles and just say, okay, if you eat all of that dinner, you can have a chocolate egg. A little bonus tip for you is to maybe try and give your children things that you would never expect them to eat. So I have realised that my son has quite eclectic taste, even though he's very fussy. So he wouldn't necessarily sit and eat sausage, mash and peas, but he would quite happily sit and eat a plate of calamari or chili squid from Wagamama's, or olives. Let your children see like maybe what we would think are unusual foods, like not your typical kid food. So when you go to Nando's, order some olives, see if your children like them, because Harry absolutely adores them. He would just sit and eat like a whole bowl of them. But yeah, like I said, the kid struggles eating mashed potato. So don't forget to try and introduce them to foods that are not necessarily on your everyday menu. So there we go, guys. I'm sorry if this has been a little bit rambly, but I'm just trying to get across to you some of the tips that we use that we have found so amazing for our son. He's now eating so much more food. I would definitely still class him as a fussy eater. He doesn't eat many vegetables or many varieties of fruit, but he's definitely broadened his horizons. He's eating more meats, and he is eating a lot more veg than he used to. So let me know in the comments below if you think I've missed out any tips, if you have any tips of your own that have really worked for you. I would love to hear them. Don't forget to subscribe if you like this video, and I'll see you next time. Bye!